Hey guys, welcome back to Ontario Gardening. Today we are making and canning homemade salsa. It's going to be a little bit longer of a video today because this is a little bit time consuming, and we do have a few new subscribers who are new to the canning world, so I really want to do step by step and make sure that we're giving good information and that we know what's going on all the way through this video. So let's get started. So those of us that are brand new to canning, we are sterilizing our jars inside of the dishwasher. And we also want to put our lids inside of some water in a pot so that we can put that on the stove and heat that up as we go so that the rims and everything are going to, the rim of the lid will seal to the jar properly. So for this recipe, it's just a basic salsa recipe. You are going to need 10 cups of peeled tomatoes, and I will show you how to peel those in a moment. 7 cloves of minced garlic, 2.5 cups of green pepper, 2.5 cups of onion, and then you'll need some table salt, white vinegar, and cans of tomato paste. Or if you have homemade tomato paste, that works perfect too. So the first thing that you're going to do, and it's the most time consuming part, is you are going to chop up your 2.5 cups of bell pepper, your 2.5 cups of onion, and you're going to mince your 7 cloves of garlic. Now we are doing a double batch, so this looks a lot more than what yours is going to look like. So just keep that in mind as we go through this video that we are doing a double batch, but I will put the recipe down below for the one batch so that you know exactly what you're looking at when you're doing yours. The other thing to note is if you have a food processor, this is exactly how this was done. So we chopped up, for example, our bell pepper into smaller chunks, threw them in the food processor, and then pulsed them so that they look like this. And this makes life so much easier. It's $29.97 at Walmart. If you're in America, it's going to be cheaper, probably only 20 bucks. It's worth the investment for all of your canning needs because you can do that with fruit and many other things. So if not, if you don't have it, that's fine too. It's just going to be a lot more time consuming for you to sit and chop all of that stuff up. I should also mention that we use Roma tomatoes or paste tomatoes in our recipe. You can use beefsteak or whatever type of tomato that you like, that you grow. It doesn't really matter. It's not specific to a certain type. It's just this is the flavor we like. And it's the same with the onion. If you wanted to do a Spanish onion or a yellow onion instead of a white onion, or a red pepper instead of a green pepper, feel free to mix it around and do what you like to your taste. This is just how we do it. So in order to get the 10 cups of peeled tomatoes that you're needing, the first thing you're going to do is wash all of your tomatoes. Ours came straight from the farm, so they were super dirty. And so you wash them, and then you are going to take a knife and score an X on the bottom of all of your tomatoes. So on each one of these, we've scored an X. And then what you're going to do is we've boiling a pot of water on the stove there. You're going to dunk these into the hot water and then quickly dunk them into cold water. So I will show you how that's done in just a moment once it's boiled. So we've got the hot water that I'm about to put the tomatoes into, and they sit in there for 60 seconds. And then we plunge them into the cold water. And then we find it the easiest to just throw it into a strainer at that point, and then we will peel them. Okay, so now that they've been in there for 60 seconds, we're going to take a slotted spoon, throw them into the cold, and then they're going into the strainer. And same thing, as they come out, plunge into the cold, get those. Now that you've plunged them, the skins will just peel right off, and then we're going to cut them into quarters, measure them out, and 10 cups are going to go into your pot with all of your other stuff. Again, I'm doing a double batch, so we're going to be doing 20 cups. So we will do that and get back to you. So now that we've added our 10 cups of the peeled and chopped up tomatoes, as you can see, we've chopped them into smaller pieces and then they cook down as they go. We are going to add the salt, the vinegar, and at this point you can add jalapenos or chilies or anything that you might want to give it a spice or a kick if that's what you're looking for. We like ours completely mild with no kick whatsoever, so we aren't going to add anything. But now is the time to add those things if you are interested in a spicy salsa. And then we're also going to add the tomato paste as well. So we are adding 6 tablespoons of just regular white table salt, 1 cup of vinegar. And again, I'm adding 2 cups of vinegar because I am making a double batch here. And then at this point we can add the tomato paste. And for the tomato paste, it is 1 can of 12 fluid ounces. For me, all I could find was a 13 fluid ounce. That's fine. It's just going to be a little bit, just an ounce more, which is no big deal. But we're going to add 1 can of that to your recipe. Okay, so we've got it all stirred up in here, and now we're going to turn on the stove and we are going to get this to a simmer, and then we're going to let it simmer for half an hour once it reaches that simmering point. So now that it is done simmering for the half an hour, we are going to ladle these into our sterilized jars. So using a funnel and a ladle, we're going to put it in, and then we're going to leave 1/4 inch head space at the top of the jar, which is about to this line. And then you're going to take your funnel out, and you want to take a wet paper towel or a wet cloth and wipe your rim of your jar to make sure there's no debris on it. And then we're going to come into our hot lids, get one off, put it on, take a band and screw it on. And just be careful because everything's hot. The jar is sterilized and hot, the lid's hot, the salsa's hot, so it's going to be very hot. And then we're going to take these, once they're all filled, put them into our water bath and process them. So we water bath the salsa for 30 minutes. And once we are done doing that, we'll pull them out, and now we are going to put them to bed, and I'll show you what that means in just a moment. So when you put something to bed, you're basically taking the jars that are super, super hot, and you want to slowly cool them down to room temperature so that they don't explode. So you're going to take an old comforter, is the best way to do it. Put a layer down, fold it in half, and then we're just going to put the other half just on top here. So now they're kind of cozy in there. They're going to slowly cool down as opposed to trying to adapt to the air around and cracking. I hope that makes sense that I explained it that way. So we're leaving this here for 24 hours. So tomorrow at this time, then we can come back, make sure all the jars have sealed properly and that the lids are good, and then you can store it in your cool, dry place. So that is it for doing salsa. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them underneath. And yeah, we'll be making other stuff as we go along and canning other stuff as it comes into season. Thank you so much for joining us. Talk to you later. Bye.